Hey guys, so it has been a little while, but today I have swatches of the Zoya Luscious collection for fall 2020. There are 12 polishes here altogether. These are available right now, so I will link the Zoya website down below and I will get into the swatches. So first of all, I'm sorry if you can hear the cricket that just won't quit. I don't even know what part of my house it's around, but it's radiating through every room in the house. So the first polish is Tommy, and this is described by Zoya as a blue-toned slate gray cream. So this one covers pretty well on the first coat. It's a nice solid cream color. I'm still going to do 2 coats because I will have a few streaks, but not many. I did add the wide brush to all of these polishes, so if you were to order this straight from the Zoya website and not order the extra brush, then the brush is not going to look like this. It's going to be a skinnier one. And I think you might be able to get away with 1 coat here if you're not super picky, but I am still going to do 2. And good formula on this one. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It was really close in one, just not quite there. It does seem like it dries a little bit darker than it applies. And even on like my ring finger here, where I have some pretty intense ridges, I didn't have like a big bald spot where those ridges are, which I was kind of impressed with. So that is 2 coats of Tommy. The next polish is called Wanda, and this is described as a cool-toned rouge pink with gold and rainbow micro shimmer. So this one is going to be sheer on the first coat. You can see a bit of the nail line. The base on this one has to be, ew, cat hair. The base on this one has to be a little bit more sheer for that shimmer to stand out really well. Good formula on this one. I did 3 coats for my swatch photos, and I would assume I'll need 3 coats for the video as well. So this one does start to build up on the second coat. I can see a bit of my nail lines still. The color does build up nicely as well. I don't have any streaks or anything. It is very even, just a bit sheer. So this one does build up completely for me in that third coat. It's kind of close though. It is going to dry a little bit more sheer than it is now. I think if you have a very white nail line, you might still have a little bit of something showing. Because I can look, and this is if I'm looking really closely at it, like right in front of my face, I can still see some flaws and the coat is still wet. So I know it's going to get a little bit more sheer beyond what it is right now. But that is also being absurdly picky. So that is 3 coats of Wanda. The next polish is called Patrice, and this is described as a neutral blush with rainbow and gold micro shimmer. This one is also sheer on the first coat. It looks more sheer than the pink. I'm not really 100% sure if it is. It's just closer to my skin tone than like a bubblegum pink color. So it's blending in a little bit better. I still did 3 coats for my swatch photos, and I'll probably still do 3 coats for the video. And a good formula on this one as well. So this does start to build up on that second coat. I also think my cricket got eaten by a bird or something, so that's awesome. I say that like there's literally 1 cricket outside, and once that 1 cricket is gone, there will be no sound anymore. That's not how that works. This builds up a little bit better on 2 coats than the hotter pink Wanda does. I'm still going to do 3, but I don't think you're going to have as many sheer spots, potentially, depending on your nail line, at the end of this one as you would Wanda. So this one does cover completely for me in 3 coats. And like I mentioned in that really weird butchered sentence at the end of the second coat, this does cover more, or rather does cover a little bit better than Wanda does. This is a much more solid 3-coater. But even then, I was being like stupidly picky by finding any flaws in Wanda. They were there though. I found them. So that is 3 coats of Patrice. The next polish is called Teresa, and this is described as a deep purple toned ruby metallic. I don't think that that's specific enough. So the shimmer in this is a kind of goes like purple to bronze in the bottle. You can see a little bit of that bronze tone there on the edges of the bottle. And hopefully if I can get a decent reflection, you can kind of see the purple there in the center. So this one is just a little bit sheer on the first coat. The shimmer is pretty fine, but thankfully it's not like a brush strokey kind of pearl shimmer. It doesn't stand out super intensely. You can definitely see it. You don't lose it in the polish, but it's not like a really obvious contrasting kind of shimmer. And a good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely on that second coat, and it does deepen a bit as well. It definitely dries a little bit dull on its own, so you will want top coat. So that is 2 coats of Teresa. So the next polish is called Soleil, and I totally pronounced this wrong in the outro, so sharpen your pitchforks. This is described as a warm, sparkling cider metallic. So this is a little bit sheer on the first coat, but is a super gloriously sparkly foil, and I love it. Foil polishes are just where my head has been at for like pretty much all year. And good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely for me in 2 coats. I had a little bit of nail line showing after the first one, but it's looking pretty good now. You might get a little bit of a mess from the shimmer particles on your skin around your nails when you're taking it off, but you shouldn't have any difficulty removing it like a glitter. So that is 2 coats of Soleil. So the next polish is called Mel, and this is described by Zoya as a slightly muted forest green cream. So this one is a little bit sheer on the first coat. It has a slight jelly-ish property to it, but it should build up fine in 2. It's not super streaky or anything. And good formula on this one as well. I am going back and taking a little bit more polish off my nail than is going on with the brush, because I just feel like there's a little bit too much going on. So this one does cover completely for me in 2 coats. Just like the first coat, I am taking the brush and swiping a little bit of extra polish off. I think this one just wants to move around a little bit, so I want to make a slightly thinner coat than I normally would. But even then, it still covers fine. So that is 2 coats of Mel. The next polish is called Tasha, and this is described as a sensual brunette brown metallic. So this one covers very well on that first coat. Not quite a 1-coater, but still covers nicely. This also has that foil finish. It looks a little bit different in this darker shade, but it is, for the most part, the same kind of finish. And good formula on this one. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I think this is one where if you were not feeling too picky, in a real hurry, don't mind a couple bald spots that only you would notice, you might be able to get away with 1 coat. This does dry a bit dull, so you will want top coat. That's going to help bring some of that sparkle back as well, because once it dries dull, you do lose a little bit of that. So that is 2 coats of Tasha. So the next polish is called Sharon, and this is described as a red toned wild berry cream. So this one is also a little bit sheer on that first coat, and a good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely on that second coat, and it does get quite a bit deeper and looks much more purple, less pink to me anyway. And this does dry fairly shiny, but wear top coat anyway. So that is 2 coats of Sharon. So the next polish is called Bentley, and this is described as a deepened grape cream. So this one is also a little bit sheer on the first coat. It's fairly even. It's not like super streaky or anything, just sheer. This, like Mel, is another one that I'm taking polish off of the nail and kind of swiping the brush back on the edge of the bottle to thin the coat out a little bit. Just feels like a lot of polish is trying to deposit onto my nail. So this one does cover completely on that second coat and does get a little bit deeper. I don't really think so. It just covers completely. And this does also dry fairly shiny. So that is 2 coats of Bentley. The next polish is called Lou, and Zoya describes this as a deep spruce blue cream with a kiss of green. So this one is also a little bit sheer on that first coat. Not bad though. It does go on with a couple of streaks, but they seem to kind of level themselves out. And good formula on this one. So this one does cover completely on 2 coats as well. I just had a few light spots that I wanted to cover up. I thought it might dry a little bit more streaky, but it really didn't. I do think it dries just a little tiny bit darker than it applies, but just barely. So that is 2 coats of Lou. So the next polish is called Andrea, and that looks really cool in the bottle right there. This is described as a cool-toned duochrome metallic with purple and green shift. And you can see a little bit of that in the bottle. So this one covers really well on that first coat. I'll probably still do 2 coats. I know I did 2 for my swatch photos, so I'll probably do 2 here. I think it will need just that little bit of extra coverage. When I first swipe it on, there are some brush strokes, but those melt into the polish almost immediately. And good formula on this one. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It was really close in one, just not quite there for me. I had a couple of spots that looked a little bald. You can see that it definitely dried dull, so you will want top coat. And this isn't like super shifty multi-chrome like something you would see from an indie brand, but you can still get that shift on the nails. I think a lot of the time that something from a mainstream brand especially looks really shifty in the bottle. Once you get it on the nails, it doesn't really, you can't really get all of those colors, but I can see the purple and the blue and the green in this one on my nails. So that is 2 coats of Andrea. And the last polish is called Lisa, and this is described as a rich garnet red cream. So this one is super opaque on that first coat. I'm going to do 2 coats of this because it definitely will have some spots that are darker and lighter because it's not 100% even, but it does cover really well. And this is another one that I am putting a little bit of polish back in the bottle for. That's mostly my fault and just not gauging super well how much I need for each polish as the finishes change. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. You can see that first coat dried a little bit patchier than it was when it was wet. And the second coat does deepen the color a bit. And this one also dries shiny. So that is 2 coats of Lisa.
So I actually have 3 favorites from this collection, and I don't know if it's just that it's been so long since I've filmed something that everything looks good to me, or if I actually just really like these 3. But Tommy, Mel, and Soleil are my favorites. This Dusty Blue is the first one that I swatched. I swatched this a few days before I got to the rest of the collection and really, really liked this one. And Mel, I always love a really good deep olive green. And I know I have a lot of polishes that look like Soleil, but I love these bronzy gold foils. It's just like the most fall kind of color for me. Next to like a pumpkin-y orange, this is fall. So that is the Luscious collection from Zoya for fall 2020. Again, I will link the Zoya website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.